Hello. My partner is Mason, so my propositional speech will be over my previous speech, which is gun control. As a student in a public high school, it seems difficult to stand up for what I believe in. Advocating in high school may look impossible to many students, but there is a way to do it simply and effectively. Coming up with an action plan will help you focus on the issue and fix it in a beneficial way. My persuasive essay is over gun control, and now it's time to work on that action plan. In today's essay, I'll be covering what the action plan is, how we can do something about it as United States citizens, and how our lives would be affected. For gun control, the action plan seems to get a bit complicated. People do have the right, and many the capability, to own or use firearms. The issue with that is that some people are using firearms or weapons to hurt others and is no longer a sense of protection. Each year in the United States, more than 100,000 people are shot, and more than 1/3 of them die. Source 1. Personally, providing a more thorough background check would at least minimize the problem, and most of the United States population agrees with me. 97% of Americans want more background checks. Source 2. Ultimately, the action plan would be to require more background checks, put safety first, and prohibit the illegal flow of guns. 90% of guns used in crimes come from about 5% of gun dealers. Source 2. The biggest issue, in my opinion, is a loss of advocacy for what people believe in. Advocacy for what you believe in, other than using social media, doesn't truly exist anymore. There are not nearly as many marches or rallies as there are arguments on over which side is right on Facebook. More than 1 billion people use Facebook every day. Source 3. Let's think about this. If 1 billion people use Facebook every day, imagine if those people took place in a rally or a march for gun control. I won't assume that our problems would be solved, but the issue of advocacy wouldn't even be a substantial issue. It's a large possibility that politicians are a large percentage of why things aren't being done, but that is also a part of the people's choice. We need to start electing politicians that genuinely advocate for what we believe in and will do something about it. Wiser decisions need to be made on who we elect and choose to run our freedoms. In the standpoint of a high school student, it is difficult to choose politicians because we aren't able to vote, but it isn't impossible to stand up and advocate. No matter your age, you need to advocate, and I will personally promise you things will be done about it. Without gun control, the world seems to be chaotic when it comes to violence, especially gun violence. Gun violence is a leading problem in America. The issue slowly becomes the reputation, not the people. Reputations speak louder than actual actions, which is upsetting. Imagine this. There's never any violence, the world is always peaceful and still. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Having no wars or internal conflict. It would seem boring, and that's not okay. But that is also something I cannot promise you. What I can promise you is that without gun violence, the world would be safer and more peaceful. In order for that to happen, gun control will need to be implemented. Creating an action plan for gun control can be difficult, but what truly matters is the advocacy for it and how the world can change. Imagine this. You're going to school one day. A person shows up with a weapon. You feel unsafe. Imagine this. You go to work the next day. A man shows up with a weapon. You feel unsafe. In contrast to that, we implement gun control. Now those two people who you were so afraid of can never own a gun again. And the people next in line after them will never be able to reach a weapon because we will stop the illegal flow of guns and the illegal personnel from having them. Creating an action plan for gun control can be difficult, but what truly matters is the advocacy for it and how the world can change. It's not only within the United States that gun violence is taking place, it's worldwide. Now, advocacy is already starting to spread, but focusing on one area and becoming successful will ultimately please people more. Putting this action plan into true action is the goal of millions of citizens. As a high school student, you too can advocate for what you believe in, no matter where you're from, and that is your power. So please use it.